Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. In today's episode we are going to be looking at the second part of the Icarian Cup, and it's also Christmas in the Neath, which is wonderful of course, but we have to return to the Admiral after warning all of the contestants that they may not come back from this race. The Admiral looks across from his desk, utterly expressionless. You have the air of someone who's accomplished something. The pirate poet, the cat's chiefest claw, the annotated seafarer, and the immoculous excursionist, plus 3 other anonymous captains of lesser repute. The Admiral listens to your account of events, rubbing his fingers on the polished teak of his desk. You've dissuaded all competitors but 2, he says. The exceptions, of course, are the excursionist and the seafarer. So be it. There is nothing more we can do to help them. At least they are no longer entering the cup under false pretenses. Is there nothing else to be done? I suppose if you accompanied one of these foolhardy captains into the competition, you could solve the mystery of what the Commodore has planned for them, says the Admiral after a moment's consideration. No need to interfere in their fate, just report back to me with what happens. You will probably come to no personal harm. As you leave the Admiral's office, you take a moment to consider your position. You're one of the few in London who knows the truth of the Icarian Cup. Whoever wins will be taken by the new sequence. Whoever is in second place will be allowed to reach Port Carnelian and accept the prize. By gaining the trust of one of the competitors and joining their crew, you could influence the race's outcome. But what do you plan to do? Choice here will have no effect on the outcome of the story. You're answering purely for your own satisfaction. You'll help your chosen competitor win, and you'll protect them from the new sequence. Anything less cannot be countenanced. The best Zayla should win, and you intend to ensure that no one gets abducted by the sequences mid-race. We'll help our chosen competitor win, so you can observe their fate. This is the Admiral's preference. He's a practical sort, like you. You'll help your chosen competitor win because it sounds exciting. What's the point of taking part at all, if not to win? And if the new sequence try to get in your way, well, you'll be forced to take action. Or we can ensure they lose, so we reap the rewards. Did someone mention sapphires? Or you'll ensure your chosen competitor loses to protect them from the new sequence. I mean, like, see, the prize. This is a hard choice for someone like me because I quite like the idea of getting a prize, but I also quite like the idea of the lore of learning what the new sequence do to these people. So let's go with, it doesn't affect anything. I'll go with the Magnanimous Choice. Your ambitions are as lofty as your ideals. You seek nothing less than total victory, and the foiling of the new sequence's plans. If anyone can pull it off, you can. One question remains, of course. Which of the 2 competitors will you choose to help? Oh, a spirited rivalry. As you make your way to the docks, you come across quite a scene. The seafarer and the excursionist have assembled in the streets in force, each accompanied by their full crew of sailors. The 2 captains are face to face, snarling and snapping like dogs on short chains. Go back up your mountain, Jack Shalulu, the seafarer shouts. Go toast your eyebrows, you beachcomber. Oh, stop speaking in tongues, snaps the excursionist. My first mate is in hospital thanks to those drunken louts you call a crew. All he did was call them a bunch of jackanapes, and they beat him to within an inch of his life. Can't blame Boyd Owls on Benjo, says the seafarer. Luckily he didn't put his lights out. And your fella struck first, adds one of the seafarer's sailors. Tit for tat. Let's speak up for the excursionist. We can choose a side here, but the Seafarer, I think the way she speaks may in fact destroy my ability to read. So I'm going to go with the Excursionist. His first mate struck the first blow, but it sounds like the response was wildly disproportionate. Or, if the Excursionist's first mate struck first, he deserves what he got coming to him, even if he was outnumbered. Or we can just watch in silence. Let's lend your voice to the Excursionist. You place yourself between the rival parties and offer your best argument in the Excursionist's defense. "You're 2 inches beyond upright," snarls the Seafarer, spitting on the floor at your feet. "You're hypocrites," clarifies her talkative Boot helpfully. "Shut up, Boot," snaps the Seafarer, stalking away. "Well said," says the Excursionist, patting your shoulder. "Honestly, that woman, exactly as responsible as she is comprehensible. I can't wait to win the cup and wipe the smirk off her face." He looks you up and down. "I'm presently staying at Somerset College. Feel free to drop in if you fancy a chat." That sounds perfect. The Seafarer and the Excursionist are the final 2 competitors in the Icarian Cup. They can't be dissuaded, despite your best efforts. But perhaps if you gain their trust, you can join their crew. Let's make an appointment to meet the Excursionist, but she can be found holding court in the Blind Helmsman, surrounded by loyal crew and getting thoroughly sozzled, that's the Seafarer, and the Excursionist can be found in Somerset College, making preparations for the Icarian Cup. The Excursionist is apparently not just an alumnus of Somerset College, but a highly respected one. He maintains his own residence on university grounds, a well-appointed chamber whose walls are decorated with maps, rifles, and mounted heads of various beasts. "What do you want?" asks the Excursionist distractedly. He's busy peering over a tattered map of the Southern Archipelago, measuring distances with calipers. Let's ask him about the rivalry with the Seafarer. He seems to harbour a special resentment for her. "Doesn't she infuriate you?" demands the Excursionist, looking up from his maps, his eyes suddenly ablaze. "She speaks such unceasing nonsense. Does she not realise that no one can understand her? And don't get me started on the affection of her chatty footwear." He pauses to calm himself, nostrils flaring above his moustache. "A few years ago she beat my record for the fastest circumnavigation of the Southern Archipelago," he says levelly. "The Gazette had offered a prize for anyone who could beat my time, but she didn't even turn up to collect it. The arrogance of the woman." Oh, so she didn't do it just to get the money, she did it just to beat him. Let's ask about his determination to enter the Icarian Cup. Part of it is his refusal to let the Seafarer beat him. But there's something more, isn't there? "Yes, very astute of you, I suppose," says the Excursionist. "Tell you what, a ground of tennis, there's a court just outside." The challenge comes from nowhere, but he's staring at you with a fierce grin on his face. "What say you, 1-on-1? I warn you, I have quite the forehand." "After tennis, will he answer your questions?" he scoffs. "Perhaps if you beat me, which is unlikely to happen. I assure you." The confidence on this man, he's amazing. Okay, so we can challenge the Excursionist to a game of tennis. If you win, he must tell you his reasons for entering the cup. Well, apparently, my watchfulness is high enough to win. The students of Somerset look on in vague interest as you and the Excursionist take up places on the tennis court. The Excursionist wasn't lying about his forehand. With an impressive thwack, he sends the ball at you in a hurtling blur, but you return hit after hit, expertly planting the ball just beyond his reach. You win the first game, so he insists on a full set. After that, he insists on best of 3, then 5. Finally, defeated, he slumps beside the net like a dishevelled human puddle. "Good show," he gasps. "Are you a professional?" You weren't an answer, I suppose. This whole cup business is just a sideshow for me. I'm in love. The object of my affection is a devil, not figuratively. A devil? And does the devil in question return those feelings? Not so far, admits the excursionist. He doesn't take me seriously. But winning the cup is the thing that'll finally prove I'm no ordinary human. I'm sure of it. Well, okay. I could do all of the Seafarer stuff. Since it appeared to... I'm worried that it won't, so I am going to offer to join the Excursionist's crew. Here. Only for the duration of the Icarian Cup, of course. The Excursionist is in need of a new first mate anyway. My friend, you find the Excursionist leaning against his desk, casually cleaning a rifle. A pleasure, as always. You want a cup of tea? Coffee? When you offer to join his crew, he looks away, reddening about the neck. Winning the Icarian Cup is the achievement of a lifetime, he says. I'm terribly sorry, old sport, but I can't have you hampering my chances. You have something of true value to offer. This will decide the course of the rest of the story. There is no turning back. So, we could offer the use of a submarine, which we don't have. We could offer the use of our majestic pleasure yacht, which we also don't have. Or we could impress him with our experience as a sailor, which I'm not very, but luckily, I am very well in favour with the devils. Tell him that you are well regarded among devils. The excursionist pines for one devil in particular. You could put in a good word to the object of his affections after the race. The excursionist hems and haws, then clasps your hand. Damn it, my lady, I can't say no to an offer like that. Welcome aboard. Now come on, I'll show you my boat. Down at the docks, he shows you his racing yacht, a nifty little vessel, sharp as a falcon's beak. He shows you the ropes. Literally. The rigging. The bolt rope, the topping lift. With pride, he recounts previous journeys up and down the archipelago, a fraught journey to Palmerston's Reach, and a world record crossing of the Lions. He pauses, frowning. The Seafarer has gone further, he admits. She's a fearsome rival, but we can beat her, you and I, and an ex-inferno too, of course. He places an affectionate hand on the yacht's hull. Wonderful. What's really crazy is because I've played so much Sun the Seas, I've recognised the names of all these places now. It's amazing. The Grand Regatta, the Icarian Cup, is upon you. By now, the Gazette has ferreted out the fact that only the Seafarer and the Excursionist are taking part. The final week before the Cup is chaos. Signs in shop windows proclaim proud support for one or the other. A man is tarred and feathered for claiming that the Excursionist's books are lies. Effigies of one competitor or another are burned in the streets, and bookmakers stop posting odds for fear of their betting shops being burnt down if they favour one side too highly. The day of the regatta comes as a relief, like a fever breaking. Fireworks sparkle above London streets. An immense crowd descends upon Wolfstack docks, waving flags and singing drunken songs. Her enduring majesty is rumoured to be in attendance, watching from a veiled stagecoach. Mr. Fires looms upon a towering podium above the crowd, cowled and silent. The Commodore stands at his side, smiling vaguely. Their backs are to the sea. Behind them, the two ships wait for the race to begin, so we can listen to the Commodore's speech. Yet another speech. The man has no concern for his larynx. You'll not be able to return to London for a long time. Having several Z stories may come in handy if you plan to win. I think I have a few. 7 of the city's greatest captains were invited to take part, declares the Commodore. Only 2 dared to take up the challenge. The Icarian Cup, ladies and gentlemen. He calls the Excursionist and the Seafarer onto the stage. The excursionist is wearing his Sunday best, a striking maroon three-piece suit, complete with pocket watch and a pork pie hat in the devil's style. The seafarer is wearing her usual salt-hoard jacket, still harbouring beer stains, and her mismatched boots. As the captains step up, the crowd roars, cheers, boos. Fistfights break out between rival supporters. Mr. Fires makes a curt gesture, and a squadron of Neddy men plunge into the crowd to break it up. The Commodore talks, at lamentable length, about gamesmanship and honour. He orders the two captains to shake hands. They do so, gripping rather more tightly than necessary. "I say with sincerity that I don't mind who wins," concludes the Commodore, smiling his bland smile. "You both deserve the boundless glory that awaits you." The excursionist and the seafarer climb down from the stage. The Commodore bows his head, apparently overcome. Mr. Fires waves an irritable hand. "Let's get this nonsense over with." Board your ship. The excursionist's racing yacht awaits you, bobbing up and down placidly. The two racing yachts, moored side by side, look remarkably similar. The seafarer's is perhaps a touch more weathered. The excursionist's is a little larger and more colourfully painted. As you follow the excursionist aboard his vessel, the seafarer raises her voice over the cheerful babble of the crowd. "Ye'd be better suited as commander of the Swiss fleet," she shouts. "When I get me mother boot back, I'll wipe it clean on your beachcomber." I don't know what that means. You wait aboard your ship. The crew have fallen silent. The crowd draped across the docks like a shroud. Hush. "Cast off your lines," declares the Commodore. Your crew untie the mooring ropes. "Ready your engines." Your ship's engines rumble. The Commodore raises a pistol. "Let the Icarian Cup," gunshot, "begin." The crowd begin to roar once more. The swelling sound pushes your ship before it like a tide. Deep in the bowels of your racing yacht, a pair of sweating stokers heap coals into the firebox. There are no sails, of course. Why would there be? But the lightweight yacht is made of wood that creaks and groans alarmingly as the engine turns. Sleek as a seal, you glide out onto open water. Londoners throng on the banks, cheering both ships on. Patrons spill from the Medusa's head, waving blunt instruments encouragingly. Someone flashes an enigmatic lantern from the observatory. "Open throttle!" shouts the excursionist. "Full steam ahead!" He has a spyglass pressed to his eye, staring across the water at the seafarer's yacht. The Z opens up ahead, black and endless, like an incomprehensibly vast mouth intent on consuming you, your ship, and the city behind it. Your vessel begins a slow, wide turn, following a route outlined by brightly painted buoys. On one side of you stretches the twinkling lights and merry screams of Miss Plenty's carnival. To your other side, an unrelenting dark. Your racing yacht carves an expert path through the dark water, cresting the smaller waves with prow appraised, assailing the larger ones like a Sherpa who knows his mountains. In the face of the relentless Z, you are as nimble and impudent as a dolphin. "Now's the time to pull ahead if we can," says the excursionist. "Once we've established an early lead, we can just work on maintaining it. We can attempt to pull ahead of your rival. This close to London, your route is complicated by shipping lanes, flotsam, jetsam, surprising currents. If you outpace the seafarer here, it's down to luck." Okay, 50% chance. Flip that coin. Unlucky. you find yourself suddenly bogged down amid a patch of kelp and netting, nearly invisible on the dark water. It only slows you for a moment, but it gives the Seafarer's racing yacht a chance to swoop ahead. "Dash it all!" shouts the excursionist, tossing his hat to the floor. "We need better luck than this if we're going to win." You stay the course, trailing behind your rival's racing yacht. It chunters cheerfully ahead of you, tauntingly close, but the gap never closes. The cheerful hubbub of the carnival is soon lost amid the engine churn, the groans of the hull, the unceasing thunderous pulse of the ocean. One by one, London's dwindling lights are devoured by fog. Eventually, all you can see, in glimpses between tendrils of mist, are the looming, luminescent spires of the bazaar. Then, even those are gone. A brightly painted boy bobs past, bell clanging mournfully. This will be the last route marker you will see until you reach Port Carnelian. You are truly at Z. Okay, well your rival is pulling ahead, but there's not much we can do about that, is there? You hug the coast for a time, skirting the tangled echinate shadows of the prick-finger wastes. The rocks are sharp as knives out here, and barely hidden beneath the waves. Your progress is necessarily painstaking. Once you curve away from the treacherous shore, you're able to test the engine's limits. Foam churns beneath your racing yacht's hull. Solemn lights emerge to the south, glimmering atop some distant isle. Hunter's Keep, perhaps? Before the darkness rushes mercilessly to reclaim them. The excursionist is observing the Seafarer's yacht, scribbling lines and notes on his map. "She's as fast as we are," he says. "It's anyone's game." So we can talk to the excursionist. He's hunched over a tattered map and a compass, drawing lines and making feverish calculations. He is in the state of nervous tension, constantly fidgeting and muttering. "The Icarian Cup is a marathon, not a sprint," says the excursionist. "There's plenty of time left. Let's not count our chickens." Despite his sanguine words, his eyes are haunted. A pencil snaps in his hand. After the initial excitement, the hours bleed into each other. You gradually gain your sea legs and learn the names of most of the crew. With your course set and the engines clanking, there's not much to do but play cards and swap stories. As the Z miles unfurl beneath your hull, bedraggled bats arrive from London. Messages of support, offers of sponsorship, questions from the Gazette. You send back notes on your progress. You're trailing behind your rival, not by much. They're only a spear's throw ahead. Anything could happen. The salt lions loom ahead, twin monuments that emerge from the fog with the ponderous majesty of mountains. Pendants stream from the North Lion's visage. Crowded on the scaffolding, ant-like figures wave their tools encouragingly. The stonecutters have assembled to cheer your progress. Wonderful. And here is where we make a choice. I guess, do I want us to win? Or do I want to save his life? I'm slowly coming to the conclusion that I kinda want to win, just to see what the new sequence do. But we can try to close the gap. You're lagging behind. You seem to remember an old Z-Tale that might come in handy here. That uses my Watchful. We can draw on our Z-faring experience. That uses my Z-faring experience, which is not very much. We can subtly delay your ship's progress. Or we can settle back and see what happens. I could do the whole thing on luck and just see what happens, but no, I think I'm going to try and close the gap between you and your rival. Full power to the engines. Throw anything heavy on overboard. Ignore the ominous groans of the hull. You there, hop to it. No lollygagging. All hands, all hands. A wave swamps you, then another. Soaked, spluttering, you struggle with the helm. A dozen burly crewmen dive in to help. Together you steer the yacht out of danger, alongside rather than against the brutal currents. Your racing yacht surges forward, dancing over the waves like a dragonfly. You pass between the salt lions perilously, but not too perilously, close to dashing your ship to pieces against the basalt paw. Your crew cheer. You've caught up. Your rival is sailing alongside you. Only a narrow band of foaming Z separates your two ships. You could toss a stone at them if you wished. Pirate territory. The two words ripple among your crew, with a wed dread. And indeed, far in the distance, the spire of Geiger's Morn jabs accursingly at the false stars above, surrounded by a crown of lesser stalagmite isles. Fortunately, this is as close as the cup will take you to the Corsair's forest. Your racing yacht turns in a wide arc and heads south. The morn, threatening as a raised knife, drops over the horizon. Your crew murmur with relief. Treacherous waters ahead, but we can avoid the rocks, the excursionist declares. She'll be more cautious, no doubt. This is our chance. Peering ahead through a spyglass, you spot a few jagged black stones. Spray, slick, barely poking above the surface. Giving them a wide berth would be the more sensible move, of course. We can encourage a shortcut through Rowanna's rocks. Yes, it's a risk. But when has taking a dramatic risk ever ended badly? Or we can recommend sticking near the safety of the nearby lightship. Safer, yes, but slower. This will not affect your progress against the rival. I'm going to go with sticking near the lightship, even though I really want to do the shortcut. 40%. There's a good chance I'm going to... Oh, sod it, let's try it. Hey! Exactly, declares the excursionist. Full steam ahead. This is our chance. Your ship navigates expertly through the jagged rocks. There are a few close calls, a painful screech here or there, as an unseen hazard delivers a scratch or two to the hull, but nothing devastating. Once you're in the clear, your crew raise a cheer. You've established a lead. Not much of a lead, but a lead nonetheless. Your rivals' curses fade as you leave them behind. Oh no! The excursionist has lost his hat overboard. He is utterly inconsolable. All is quiet. Island after island rolls past. Shadowy landmasses that stem ominously, vast as you approach, and laughably small as you leave them behind. A spiral of bats follows you for miles, circling and keening. You are in safer waters again. As safe as the Z ever gets, at any rate. Card games and friendly fistfights break out among the crew. The days and hours roll on. Eventually, a knock at your door. The excursionist stands outside, accompanied by the overpowering scent of brandy. He stumbles into your cabin and sits heavily upon the bed. You can ask why he's knocked on your door. But I think if this is the halfway point, I'm going to end this episode here. We are coming up to the time at the end of the episode anyway, and we will continue this race in the next episode. I am loving every second of this story. This is probably the best story I've done. On the grounds that I love the Z. But thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.